Hello and welcome to JN CareerApt. This is Nithya Natarajan. Today's guest is Dr. Souvik Roy, one of India's youngest academic leaders in legal education and currently the Dean of the Law School at Adamas University, Kolkata. With a PhD in substantive criminal law and an LLM from Queen Mary University of London, he brings rich experience from academia, corporate law, and litigation. A passionate educator and speaker, he has contributed to over 30 national and international forums and authored multiple acclaimed publications. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Roy. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the podcast series, Future Ready Students, Insights from Education Leaders.
My pleasure. It's a wonderful work that you've been doing for a long time, and I'm happy and extremely honored to be a part of this wonderful initiative that you've started.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. So you've had a fascinating journey through litigation, corporate law, and now academic leadership. Can you please share with us what actually inspired you to get into the education sector?
To begin with, actually, my mother happens to be a teacher as well. And my father was associated to a leading institution, Indian Statistical Institute, as an institute of eminence by the charter of the government. Central government. So therefore, although he was not a teacher, so since my childhood, I've seen both of them, working in institutions which are academic by its very essence and nature. And although I started off into lawyering and everything, but I guess finally the calling was such that, I just felt the need and the requirement that probably I can do something which is beyond the so-called box. Dealing with young minds, young people, students, and there's so much to learn from them as well, because that's one profession that helps you keep yourself young, mentally even more so. And as a result of which I decided that, probably after I was working in Mumbai, I was working PDS and associate the EY firm, Nariman Point. But then I always felt that, probably I'd do better in academics, and if not better, but definitely I'd want to get there and at least try my luck there. And it was kind of not a very conscious decision, but kind of happened through over a period of time, basically.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. Right. So, Dr. Roy, you are one of the youngest deans in legal education. So how do you connect with today's generation of law students and the future legal professionals?
So since you have already mentioned the word one of the youngest deans, so that kind of helps me understand the pulse, the beats of young individuals, probably at some level, not completely though, because human beings are different in its characteristics and nature. So look, I mean, education has evolved over a period of time, and I completely understand that, the basic laws remain the same. And I have done the same 5 years law, which the students are doing currently. I've done 1-year master's from abroad, from Queen Mary, London University, and then pursued my PhD. So it's a whole process, it's a journey. So what is important here is being empathetic towards their understanding. Now, once you don the chair of an administrator, what happens is there are certain areas to deal and work as an administrator. And that comes in conflict with the understanding of the students at times, being very candid. But because, see, discipline is also a key, because you're running there are so many teachers involved in that, so many non-teaching staff involved in, and then there are so many students along with their parents. So there will always be some kind of up and down calculations, equations, and that's very normal. That's common there in our time, previous times, and even now. So there's nothing different. So understanding the students and understanding how legitimate the needs and which can be actually looked into, I try to give my students as much leverage as possible. But having said that, I have to be strict with not many things, and it's a part of the institutional protocol, and that's the way it is. So the balancing act is what I do at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I understand, I just want to highlight empathy that you mentioned. You empathize with the students, and I also want to highlight, like you said, you are learning from mistakes. Everything doesn't go as planned, so you learn from mistakes, correct yourself, and then continue, doing it, which is again perseverance. right? So these are the
Absolutely.
like some of the future ready skills that we are focusing on. We want the students to learn some of these skills because everything will not go as per plan. There will be a lot of ups and downs, like you mentioned. And so we need to adapt, be flexible, and go with the flow. Great.
Yeah, I mean, we try to be as much flexible as possible and try to be empathetic because no person is perfect. I mean, so we also try, like, from my end, I try as an administrator as much as possible, and then understanding the fine line of divide where it should stop and where it should not. So we'll try and assess that. So we are all trying and we are all learning, to be very honest.
So in today's world, it's a high technology driven world. Everything is changing so fast. So what skills and mindsets do you think students need if they're planning to pursue a career in law?
First and foremost thing is the willingness to learn and being flexible. Because what happens is many a times we get stuck in a particular idea or a thought of how the course, how the program should be. The fact is technology is very important in today's, probably it was slightly less important during my time, but there are so many apps, so many AI mechanisms and tools which are available, teachers and students at large, which if they can use it to their in a right way, in a right manner, they can actually gain a lot out of it. So automation, optimization is, and there are some very important words and phrases in today's time and age. There is no two ways about it. So flexibility, willing to read, because law without reading is no law. So when it comes to technology, definitely it's very important in today's day and time. Having the flexible mindset to adopt the technology is something which is very important and fundamental. So one cannot be obstinate or rigid about it. So if you look into the law library of our law school, School of Law and Justice, Adamas University, we have a lot of electronic databases, like, much more than what the statutory body Bar Council of India asks for. And also along with that, they have remote access. So say for instance, our student who is studying here in Adamas University Law School in Kolkata, going for an internship in Delhi, so they can actually access the e-database, that is the Adamas database that Adamas has subscribed. They're in Delhi while interning, and from their mobile phones. So one has to be open about it, because, and that's one. Second is technology, optimization. These phrases are real phrases in today's time, and it has to be there and it will remain to be there. So if we can adopt it, and then it can actually help you develop, it can actually help you do things much faster. Correct. So there is no denying technology and the importance of technology, because the government of India is paying a mammoth sum in order to ensure that technology is embedded. We see live high courts on certain social media platforms or video platforms, and this thing, and these are extremely wonderful examples of how students can experience the court from the university premises or otherwise as well. So the whole point is one has to be flexible enough to read, because law without reading is nothing. Because just because you're joining a law school doesn't mean you'll get a job. Because it's a very symbiotic relationship, ma'am, between the teachers and the students and the university management. I tell you, because the same infrastructure, same teacher, same library, same books, same electronic databases. Why is it that one student will be scoring and go to Dubai to work, and another student is not getting placed? Wherein, like, both of the synergies come together. And when you develop yourself over a period of 5 years in an undergraduate program after the +2 standard 12th, as we call it in India, then there is a possibility that company or a good law firm will come and they will pick you up, that oh, this person is smart, he knows the basics or she knows the basics of it. They're not expecting you to know everything. Nobody knows everything. I don't know. It's not possible. Law is vast. So willingness to learn and being very smart, very intelligent, and positive body language, reading, and adopting technology in a right sense is definitely something way forward for the students.
Right. And this doesn't apply only to law school, it applies across all sectors. It's not just about how many marks you score or how many certifications you have done. It's your skills, how well you have learned your skills, and how efficiently you are able to practice them, apply them in solving real world problems.
I'm from University of Calcutta before I went for my master's abroad. So my law university department, I was blessed with some really fantastic teachers and very erudite and educated and very good with the linguistics. But having said that, my law school never taught me, or my law department never taught me law school. So there are certain things you have to understand and grow with time, and take the best out of the situation and ambience. That is very important.
Correct. So you have to be smart enough and like grab every opportunity and look for opportunities and develop your skills and do other certifications if possible. So how can legal education, like we were talking about developing skills, so how can legal education become more experiential and real world focused, especially for undergraduates who are just entering the field?
See, the whole point of experiential learning is being much talked about now thanks to the NEP, the New Education Policy 2020. But having said that, internships are a very fundamental aspect of gaining experience.
Okay.
So if you look into the Bar Council of India guidelines, and that was drafted and came into effect way back into 2008. Now there is another draft regulation to also there and will come into vogue at some point. So that point of time, they made it at least 20 weeks of internship as mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing better than going and working with someone and experiencing what you have learned, because what you learn inside the classroom in terms of substantive law or procedural law and what you actually learn once you get there is a very different, but the base is there. Classroom will give you the base, but learning on the go is the skill that you have to develop or imbibe.
Correct.
Over and above that, like in Adamas University in law school, so we have been doing a lot of other things like co-curricular and extracurricular events. Say for instance, we have national moot court competition, or pan-India moot court competition, or say for instance, we have intra-moot court. Our students participate in pan-India one. All the universities across India, they participate. We have crime scene investigation competition. We have trial advocacy competition. We have a mediation competition. We have national conferences, seminars going, talks, and all of that. So, these are all hands-on experience being given to the students. We have a very vibrant legal aid clinic. So students will interact, go with the teachers, go to villages and all of that and interact. So these are those hands-on experiences beyond the classroom teaching that we do is very fundamental from the point of view of, law school and experiential learning. And nothing better than experiential learning to understand the law, which is already codified or written in the statute books.
Wonderful to know that you are doing so many other activities apart, to make it more relatable to students and more give them more experiential learning. Great. So, Dr. Roy, you have studied and worked in both India as well as in the UK. So what differences do you see in the legal education models, and what can Indian institutions learn to be more efficient and to be more future ready?
See, first and foremost, before I answer this question, one thing I definitely believe, that a good teacher or a good scholar is a good scholar, whether that person is in India or abroad.
Agreed.
And I definitely that, probably in terms of hard work and being meticulous about this thing, we were right at the forefront. I won't draw a comparison with others, but like as Indians, I just felt like the peer group that I had at that point of time. So that's one. Second is where you get your education from is a yardstick of how good a student you are, but it's not an absolute yardstick. So say for I procured distinction in disciplines while I was pursuing my master's from London University, but overall I secured a merit. But to be very honest, now where I am and what I'm doing and what I'm teaching is very different from the subjects in which I scored marks there, right? I was fortunate enough to have some good teachers, but having said that, it is equally true that I've been fortunate enough to have good teachers even in India. And when you talk about legal education, what you're essentially talking about is also the teachers who teach the subject. And having a good work ambience or environment for the teacher is very important.
Correct.
So because then what happens is they can deliver to their optimum as well. Because in today's day and time, we are in a consumer driven world. Let's get it straight that, today people understand the consideration part in a very absolute terms, beyond that age old understanding of, that relationship between teacher student, that is kind of diluting over a period of time, and it's fact. So having said that, I felt that it's very strategic out there, and there are many universities, including ours, who plans. And you'll be happy to know that Adamas University in West Bengal, we are in Calcutta, is the first state private university to be accredited with NAC A accreditation.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
so we recently got this achievement under the leadership of our Chancellor, Professor Dr. Samit Ray, and Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Ranjan Das, and others, Sir, as well. So therefore, I can understand that, there cannot be an utopian world where everything will be perfect. Teachers will be perfect, students will be perfect. When a student comes to a university, it's an invitation to offer in legal terms. We are not saying at gunpoint that you come and join the university. Yeah, people have their own understanding of what advertisements are, and then they look at it and then make an informed choice based on that. So holistically speaking, some of the universities in India are doing excellently well. They've got some amazing faculty, and they teach really well. The pedagogy is extremely modern. The ecosystem that is there is very conducive for learning and student ambience and environment. And also at the same time, it is equally true. I'm a firm believer that aping the British or the colonial system is not the way to go. We should have an identity of our own. So just because it's UK or England or US or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that, education wise they're better than us. No, because I know my friends and colleagues who have done from India also and who are doing excellently well. They're brilliant researchers, scholars, and professionals. But having said that, yeah, probably being more strategic, more planned, help things to become better, and a little bit of more of international exposure to students, which we are giving Adamas right now. And also it's for the students also at some level to grab those opportunities. It's a combination of both. So say, for instance, we're introducing foreign languages this time for students and stuff. So, there are new things you have to recalibrate, you have to innovate over a period of time. And there will be no perfect system. It will never be there. It must not be there. And the moment you touch finger pointing, it will always be there is no middle ground. So coming together and creating a holistic ambience is what we are looking at.
Yes, great. We already discussed its flexibility and adaptability. You adapt as you go and try to expose students to many other opportunities for collaborations, international exposure, internships, etc. You've also worked as a CLAT mentor and foreign education counselor. What advice would you give students considering law as a career path today?
So there are two parts to it. One is the CLAT mentor part, the other is the advice. So see, when it comes to the CLAT mentorship part, yes, we're very fortunate that some of our students did really well. So CLAT is the common law admission test in India. And that's predominantly for cracking the big top tier NLUs and the national law universities. And along with that, what happens is a good CLAT score can help students prepare for it and practice a lot about it, and understanding the timeline of the examination and the verticals and the sub-verticals that are there. So that's about the CLAT bit. Advice to the students is that, cracking a CLAT exam on the given day is also a matter of how well you perform on that given day. So on another day, it could be something else as well. There is a possibility. But based on that, do not think that, you've become some super efficient lawyer or teacher or anything like that. No, law is anything but that. Stay humble and stay grounded, because law can actually teach you to stay grounded. Why? Because you can never know all the laws in that are there. So that's one part. Second is, the moment getting into law, please take your internships very seriously. Please take your internships very seriously. Ask teachers a lot of questions. Do not go out with doubts. And if the teachers are not responding, do whatever is required. Be a rebel. but you have to ensure that the teacher finds it difficult in a classroom. And because only then what happens is you get the best of a teacher, and a teacher who is already good, and in the process you learn better. And then the thing is, you have to be very thorough with the basics of law. Just because I'm in the final year now of a BA LLB honors or BA LLB honors or whatever, that does not necessarily mean you know it all. Of course you won't. Take internships very seriously, understand what the potential employers are looking for. In good body language, very important. Knowledge of basics, very important, and basics of the basic laws, constitutional law, criminal law, contract act, basics of Companies Act, if somebody is doing company law and all. And those things can actually give a very fair idea to potential employer as to what he can deliver in the long run. Because the potential employer is not looking for a completely ready-made product, but what she or he, the employer, is looking for is a product that can be made ready with less work.
Correct.
So drafting, how to draft, how to research very fast, going through some say purchase agreements or due diligence reports and how it's planned. And many have the habit of getting directly into one particular section. They don't statute book, they won't read the first few sections. Or when they take a book, they will see into 1 or 2 lines, and in that there is a footnote number 26, and they will see that there is a case name, and that person will say that versus this, it was held this, but without knowing the facts. Now, in similar cases, there can be different facts and similar judgment based on the same law. If you don't know the facts, you'll be caught napping.
Correct.
So, and these are very important skills, and these are very hands-on skills that they look at, and definitely participate, like in the organizing team, or participate in the proper competition, and enhance your diaspora of knowledge, and be open to the idea of working anywhere, because law profession can be extremely difficult, because especially when you start as a lawyer, you have to buy the fact that maybe 10,000, maybe no penny, 0 penny, or 2,000, 3,000, or 15,000 people will have to work, gain experience. But once you gain proper experience, the rise can be really steep if you gain that experience. So these are the things everyone who is in the field of law or aspiring to be in the field of law must look into. And if they do, they will have a great future ahead. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of scope. India is developing. Be more disputes, and more the disputes, the more happy we are, because you need mechanisms and somebody to settle those disputes. Yeah.
Now there's an additional cyber law and forensic law and all that coming up. These are like emerging careers, and there's going to be more demand for that in the future.
We have it here. So cyber law is a part of our regular curriculum, although Bar Council of India doesn't make it a mandatory one. But here in our university, Adamas, we have made cyber law as a part of a core paper. It's there in the form of other kinds of honors papers as well. And not only that, since we are a university, we have 10 schools here. So keeping the new education policy in mind, so for the other schools like life science, biotechnology, business, health sciences and all, what we do is education. What we do is engineering technology. We are offering 4 law papers as well to those students.
Okay.
So they can study those subjects, and our teachers can actually teach them papers in law.
Right,
We're non-law students per se.
So Dr. Roy, when I, as a career coach, when I meet students to give career guidance, some of them come up with this question, like in the very beginning, before we do all the psychometric testing and all that, in the beginning, what they say is like, I'm really good at, I'm an extrovert, and I'm really good at negotiating and arguing. So I want to do law. So what advice do you wish to give to students, say, for example, from class 9 to 12? What are the basic requirements to even start with thinking about a career in law?
I mean, I completely get it. So being an extrovert, I would also say, if it comes with fluent speaking, because in law, English is also very important.
Right.
Because English writing and English speaking, especially when you're working for a law firm or an MNC or working in the Supreme Court or a honorable Supreme Court or honorable High Court and other courts as well. So a good English writing and speaking can always help and aid, because I also wanted to take up English honors at one point of time, because I was more inclined towards that. I used to write for Statesman, Times of India and all of that during my school life. But then I was told that, it's a professional degree, because law is a professional degree. It's not a basic degree, generic degree. And I chose to get into law. Now, the whole point is, look, if somebody is an extrovert, that does not necessarily mean that the person will be a good lawyer. That person can be a very good rugby player as well, or a football player as well. The whole point is whether you have the fluency to speak the language well, and if you can speak and describe the language well, then it has to be backed with logic and facts. A good lawyer is someone who can actually say anything with logic and facts, making it a statement or an argument.
Right.
And which is very difficult to bounce back to. So that is something the young students, who are currently thinking of taking up law as a profession should look at, that, good communication skills is part of the job. It's a part of the battle won, but that's not everything, because at the end of the day, something I genuinely believe, and I tell it, that, no matter how good a suit you wear, no matter how well your hairstyle is, no matter how good you kind of clothes you wear, at the end of the day, style over substance won't lead you to anywhere.
Correct.
It has to be always substance over style. The remaining things can be an add-on, but that is not the feather in your cap. The feather in the cap is your knowledge, how well you speak, how well you actually align the law with the facts at hand. If you're good at it, you will excel irrespective. And if you're not good at it, with your properly attired dress and all, it will not take much further ahead. So just because you can talk well in front of few people doesn't guarantee you success, but you can talk well in front of few people is a good yardstick that if you can work hard, it can give you a lot of success.
Right. So it's not just the extroversion or the communication skills. It also has to be backed by logical reasoning and critical thinking, and a willingness to read a lot and gather knowledge. Pass on that to the students who ask me that question next time. Right. So looking ahead, how do you see the job of a legal educator evolving over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
See, the whole point is we are living in an age wherein we have everything in our fingertips thanks to your laptops and mobile phones. And of course, certain video database websites. You know what I'm referring to here. So everything is available on the platter, and you have educators teaching there as well. They will upload their classes, right? So I think the requirement of a law teacher was, and it is becoming even more so, is getting aligned to hand holding. Because what happens is a teacher's job is making the student understand predominantly in simpler terms. What is complicated, you break it down in simpler terms to give them an understanding of what it is.
Right.
Now, I'm of the firm opinion that, teachers will have to adopt the fact and be mindful of the fact that AI is there, artificial intelligence. So much technology and content is available right now. What is it that you are doing extra in order to ensure that students are glued to the class? One important thing is sense of humor.
Correct.
And it might sound very bizarre to many that, here is talking about a teacher and talking about sense of humor. Trust me, it is a very important aspect, because when you're there in a class for almost an hour, a good teacher with a good knowledge might not be as successful as a teacher with someone with maybe slightly lesser knowledge, but better interactive skills with the students.
Agreed.
Make the classroom flip classroom. Once you discuss, let the students come, you go to the students' place and make it an ecosystem or ambience where there is interaction. Because one-sided talk in today's time, no, with its reels and everything that is there, 1 minute, 30-second reels and 2-minute videos, our bandwidth is gone for a toss. That's why you see reading books is becoming a rarity now. Because now we want to listen to something and hear it rather than reading it and assimilating it and then giving.
The attention span has reduced.
Absolutely. And therefore, I think it's very important that the teacher keeps a very communicative and interactive mode of classroom in the next 5 to 10 years. Teachers should embrace the fact that artificial intelligence is here to stay. So the content that the teacher is also seeing, the student is also seeing in class, there has to be something beyond that. And storytelling is very important. Once you can define a concept to your student by a story, they are much more engrossed in it. And adopt AI. No harm in adopting AI, but use it ethically, not non-ethically, because plagiarism is the real thing. And today's plagiarism softwares also can actually catch hold of AI-driven content creation. So these are the things teachers have to be extremely strict about. Find different ways of marking the students. And these are the things that a teacher will have to be abreast with in the days to come in order to make the classes successful. And few of them, of course, was parameters very important for any teacher to this thing. But interaction is very key.
Great. I totally agree with you because I'm basically a teacher, so I have used storytelling and, making it more interactive and allowing the children to change the concepts into stories and share with each other so that they remember all those facts better, teach them like different study techniques and help them to memorize or remember certain facts and all that. So unless it's more interactive and you involve children in the teaching learning process, you cannot be a successful and productive teacher. And I agree with that.
And you put them into groups, like, do some group activities inside the classroom. Let the students actually argue with each other and let them dissent. And that is peer group learning also you're kind of inculcating through that process. And peer group learning is one of the best processes that you can.
Correct. That's much more efficient than the teacher teaching them. Great.
Yeah, the monologue.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Roy, for sharing your valuable insights and experiences and with so much clarity, examples, and with a lot of passion. And I'm truly grateful for your time and contribution. It was a privilege having you on this podcast.
My pleasure, ma'am, and thank you. You're doing an excellent job, and all your students who are actually working with you. And I just wish them all the very best in the future and take up some really good decisions and do take up law. I'm all for law. So yeah.
Yeah. So if in case I have some, okay, I'll request you to mentor them.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. So, at Adamas University, we are very into the idea of reaching out to schools. We call it the School Connect program. So various school students from 9, 10, 11, 12, they would come to our universities, look at the infrastructure. They come to a law school. We have a moot court facility. We have libraries and wonderful, so they would come here. So I would also take sessions. My teachers would be taking sessions as well. And we talk about law, do you want to learn law? And similarly in other schools as well, medicine, engineering, technology, life sciences, biotechnology, and others. We have School of Smart Agriculture. And then there, they go there and we have a very hands-on, fun, interactive sessions with them, lab visits, moot court visits and all. So, and I think this is the time, 9, 10, 11, 12, a very important time. And I tell them always that the next 3, 4, 5 years of your life will determine the next 40 years of your life. Mostly so. There can be exceptions here and there. So would be very happy about that as well.
Okay. Do you also offer any kind of virtual internships or other activities for school students?
Virtual internships, not really per se, because for school students, but we do have a School Connect center here. So if you want, I can connect you to them to explore the possibilities, because we do have 2 schools of the university. One is the Adamas International School, another is the Adamas World School. So those 2 are running parallel. And International School is the old one. World School is in this entire huge campus that we have here in Calcutta. Okay. So I can always help you connect to them to explore the possibilities.
Sure, sure. That would be really great because, because of geographical boundaries, school students, sometimes it's very difficult to actually, physically visit universities and all that. So if they have
Right,
something virtual,
right.
yeah, it would be great.